With the release of the OnePlus 7 just around the corner, I wanted to take a moment to share with you exactly why I'm excited, yeah, actually excited to be a repeat OnePlus customer. As you know, I have bought a Samsung S10 Plus, but I am ready to jump back on the OnePlus bandwagon. In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly why I think you should consider buying the new OnePlus phone. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, my name is Tony and this is Talkin' Tech. As I alluded to in the beginning of this video, I'm here to share with you exactly why I am excited to jump back on the OnePlus bandwagon with the release of the OnePlus 7. So as some of you may know, if you've been following me, I did go to the Samsung S10 Plus, which is my first Samsung phone in probably 4 or 5 years. So I was pretty excited about it, and quite frankly, it's been a good phone for me. But if you haven't purchased one, please watch this video and at least consider a OnePlus 7 before you consider buying the Samsung Galaxy S10. All right, so to get started in this video, I want to put a disclaimer out there that this is not going to be a spec-filled video. I can compare specs, you can compare specs, you can Google to your heart's content and read specs versus specs versus specs versus specs. That's not what this is going to be about. This is going to be about this is really hard for me to say apparently, real world decisions, deciding your smartphone. So to get started, we are going to cover the upfront cost. So let's start with the Samsung Galaxy S10. This released in March at a price of about $1,000. I think it was about between $1,030 and $1,050 by the time it arrived at my front door. I could be incorrect, but I did get the basic S10 model, not the highest level. Now we'll move back to the latest flagship phone from OnePlus, which is the 6T, and actually the McLaren edition released later than the regular 6T, which we'll cover in a second. So for this McLaren edition that I bought in December, I think it was December 13th was the official release date, I paid $699 or about $720 when it hit my door. The regular 6T, which released, I believe, November 1st, was priced between $549 and $629. So as you can see right off the bat, there is a pretty big price divide. So now when we consider with the OnePlus 7, these are just a rumored price, but they are looking to start the OnePlus 7 Pro, which would be the accurate comparison with the S10 Plus, to start right around the $699 mark that the McLaren 6T was. So right away you can see there is a $300 difference between flagship phones, and I can guarantee the specs are going to be very, very similar. Now it is going to move up to that 855 chipset that the S10 has, which quite frankly I don't notice any performance difference. So I don't really know how many people can really or really should afford a $1,000 flagship phone right off the bat. So realistically, a 6T, or excuse me, a 7 in this case, OnePlus, is just a such better value overall, and I can't stress that enough. And this was the first flagship phone that I had bought in a while, and it was a lot easier to fork out $700 versus over $1,000. And quite frankly, the only reason I went to this was because of the YouTube channel, and I wanted to give a good review on it and actually give Samsung a fair shake, and I did for you guys do that. And quite frankly, I am ready to go back to OnePlus. So the next thing that I want to cover on this is going to be differentiating on their software. So if you're not familiar, OnePlus uses what they call OxygenOS, and if you come from the Google ecosystem or the Pixel ecosystem, this is very similar to that, and it is very stripped down and really close to the stock Android feeling. And quite frankly, it's awesome. Updates are fast, really quick. I mean, almost as quick as the Google updates were when I came from my Pixel version of phone. So it is excellent. There are a few quirky things. I had some issues with Snapchat on it with the 6T, but who knows if that's actually 6T's issue or the OnePlus issue, or if it was just something quirky with Snapchat. I will be finding that out when I order my OnePlus 7 here coming up, but I haven't been using it, and that was really the only quirk that I had about this phone. And you know, so that's pretty solid, and I'm just a huge fan of the stock Android. Now the Samsung Galaxy uses Samsung's version of it, and quite frankly, I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head. I know it used to be called TouchWiz. I think it's like OneUI now, and I don't know, it's okay. It's just, there's just something about it that I don't like, and I'm just really itching to get back to that stock Android feeling. And this really encapsulates that, and the OnePlus 7 will do exactly that. So the last but probably not least form of comparison I'm gonna do on these right now is what they're worth today. So what was their actual value and how did it depreciate? So starting right off the bat, let's jump to the OnePlus 6T. So like I said in the beginning of the video, this started at about $549 to $629, and right now, so that released on November 1st, so that was about 6 months ago, and a little bit over 6 months ago, and so right now those prices are at but $450 to $550. $550 was on the high end, and that was a brand new in box, probably highest spec on eBay. So that is a really good value. So it looks like, you know, they lost less than 20% of their value in just a short amount of time. So, or six months, I guess. That's a pretty good amount of time. And then the OnePlus 6T McLaren edition, actually for a while there, until they announced the 7, it was actually worth more than I paid for it. They were going for over $800 used on eBay, which is a fantastic value. Now I get it, this is a special edition phone, so not everybody had this, not everybody wanted it, and it probably holds its value a little bit better. And right now, today, they go for about $650 to $750, kind of depending on the condition, new in box. So I'm basically not out anything on this phone after 5 months. And that's fantastic. Now, the disappointing fact is I don't really want to sell it, but I will probably when I get the OnePlus 7. Now, the big news, so when we compare it to the S10 Plus, and this is kind of a big deal here, when I bought this phone, like I said, it was over $1,000, and right now, and actually in a real world, God, that is really hard for me to say, I apologize. In actuality, my friend just sold his phone for $720 on Swappa. And I know he takes care of his equipment really, really well. So that is absolutely ridiculous. It lost $300 in value in less than 2 months. Or not less than 2 months, it is about 2 months. So excuse me on that. $300, it lost 30% value in 2 months. And a lot of the value depreciation on my OnePlus 6T is based on the fact that they've already released, or they are going to be releasing, a new flagship model. This is the top of the line right now. There's not an upcoming Note 10. I mean, there is, but it's not like, it's just in the planning stages or the release stages. So it is not just around the corner. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you even look at the iPhones, and I think his XR or XS, I don't know the difference right now, I'm sorry, but he's only lost like $150 on that. And that, the OnePlus is right up there with holding its value like an iPhone right now. Yeah, it wasn't upfront cost so high, but fantastic value. And the Samsung just doesn't hold its value. And I even went back and I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just the S10 Plus that doesn't hold its value well. I went back and looked at the Note 9, and that was released in, I think, August of last year, so just before the 6T was released. And that is worth about 50% of its original value. So it lost another 20% on top of what the S10 has lost in about 8 months or so. And so that is absolutely crazy. I just cannot believe it, how fast they depreciate for an expensive phone. And it's not that they're not a premium product, they are, but man, talk about depreciation. So this is me telling you right now, watching this video, if you have not bought your flagship phone in 2019, definitely give OnePlus a very, very close look, and I would at least buy it and test it out. If you haven't had one before, I think you're gonna be a believer like I was. I was a little skeptical. I'm like, okay, what's the catch here? Why is it so much cheaper than every other phone? But honestly, they've done nothing but excite me for the next model. So anyway, that's really all I have on this video. I hope you guys found it informative. If you did, hit that like button. If you're interested in hearing about my OnePlus 7 when I get it, or other content that I have coming up, definitely hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell right next to it so you know when I post my next video. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day.